I bet you didn't know that you can pull the property tax bill on literally any property in Orange County, California. We're going to show you how. Whether you're doing due diligence on a property you're going to buy, maybe you're going to be taking advantage of Prop 19 and you want to transfer your property tax basis. Maybe you're looking to know what special assessments are for a property, how much those Mello-Roos are, or maybe you're just a nosy neighbor and you want to know. We are going to show you how to pull any property tax bill in Orange County, California. And stick around to the end because we have some hot tips on how to find properties that have unpaid property taxes and potentially negotiate a better deal. Hey there. Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates. We have been helping buyers and sellers make the best actual and factual real estate decisions. So if you're ready to dive in to know the Orange County property tax rate for any property, hit that like button and let's get started. So the very first thing you're going to do to access any property tax bill in Orange County, California is you're going to go to the treasurer's website. So you're going to go to octreasurer.com. I have a link below so you can click on that. Then you're going to click here online payments, e-services, and you'll see pay, view property tax bill. Click that. And this is where all the magic happens. We're going to run through this quickly. I'm going to show you how to use it, the ways you can search for any property in Orange County, California. First things first, as of the date I'm recording this, they're talking about the property tax bills for 2023, 2024. Those are going to be going out here pretty soon. First installment will be due by November 1st. 2023, delinquent after December 11th, and I'll show you what happens if you miss paying that property tax bill. Then the second installment will be due in 2024. So you scroll on down, you have several different choices. We're going to look at secured and supplemental property tax bills. So these would be secured against real estate. The supplemental, I'm going to release another video on that and explain that because that's important too. What you're going to do is you're going to pick the way you're going to search for it. So parcel number would be one way. The other way is street address, and that's probably going to be the easiest way. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull up a sample property, and this happens to be a famous celebrity's property. This was Warren Buffett's home in Laguna Beach that he sold in 2018. So I put the address in, it pulled it up, and then we can then click here. And now we can start to look at property tax bills for this property. Now you can go back a few years. Up here, it shows you the most recent bill. Well, again, we don't have the 2023 and 2024 bills yet, the new ones, because they haven't been released, but they should be by the end of September. We can go back years. We can go all the way back to 2009, 2010. Now we're going to pull up 2018, 2019. Reason I'm doing that is the year he sold. He sold in 2018, and he originally purchased the home for $150-ish thousand in 1971, and then in 2018 he sold that home for $7.47 million. And here was his property tax bill for the last year that he owned that property in Laguna Beach. And what do we see here? Well, we can see the total value in this column is 286. So his property had gone up in value from 150,000 all the way up to 286,000 in the year 2018. And that is broken down into the land. According to the assessor's office, the land was worth about 153, and then the improvements, the structure was worth about 133,000. So that's where they got that 286. So he owed a big, huge, whopping $2,900 for that property in Laguna Beach up until he sold it. Now this actually says new owner bill, and that's because of the date he sold the property and the releasing of the bill. So the new owner would have received this bill, but they paid a much higher rate, and I'm going to show you that. So let's take a closer look at these numbers. Now, this video is for those who are going to take advantage of Prop 19. They're going to transfer their property tax basis. So this number here that we just talked about, that 286, that is a combo of the land and the improvements, that would be the number that transfers for calculating the new property tax basis under Prop 19. I've released other content on that, and I have more content coming on that. So that's something important here. If you're taking advantage of Prop 19, you're going to want to pull your own property tax bill so that you can run some numbers. Now, the other important numbers, so let's say you are interested in acquiring Warren Buffett's property. It was 2018. You saw it listed for 7.5 million. I said, boy, this looks like a good deal. I want to know what my property tax rate is going to be, or any property in Orange County, you want to know what the property tax rate is going to be. So the basic levy rate is 1%. That was set by Prop 13 years ago. And then local areas can add in, if voters agree to it, additional property tax is on top of that, and that's what we see here. So we see a Laguna Beach property tax assessment that's here, and then a water assessment that's here. This number down here, the 1.01635, that is if you add these up. It doesn't include any of these special assessment charges. We're going to go deeper into that in another property tax bill. That is just these numbers all added up here. So assuming these numbers stay the same, this percentage, there was a slight change, and I'll show you on the next property tax bill, but that would be the property tax rate. Now, when you use, for example, the Zillow mortgage calculator, a lot of times for California, it'll plug in 1.2. Some lenders will want to use 1.25. That's actually high. In this particular area, that's it. And the special assessments, these additional numbers for mosquitoes, vector control, water standby charges, these are very minor charges. So that would be the number down here that you could use if you were to want to run the numbers at your acquisition price for your property taxes. So let's take a look at the new owner's bill. So here we are, that new owner who purchased it for $7.47 million. They got this property tax bill and a supplemental bill, which will release additional content. And you can see now the land, after they purchased it, is worth $7.17 million, and then the improvements are worth $300,000. That's where they get the 7.47. So we can see that the cumulative percentages here did change slightly, but very, very minor change, and that's rare that happens. It could have been because it was such a long time that the property was owned, since 71, but very minor change. So the new property taxes owed for the year, instead of that $2,900, are now $75,000, almost $76,000. So that's a big jump, and that's what Prop 13 does. As long as you own the property in the state of California, your property tax rate will increase a very tiny amount, up to 2% per year. And that's what happened to Warren. Then he sold it for 7.47. The new owner gets the honor of having this new big property tax bill. And then let's show you at the bottom of the property tax bill, you're going to see these two stubs, I guess you could call them. And what it shows you is what will be due for one half of the year and what's due for the other half of the year. It's broken down into two halves, and it talks about the due date. So this first one was due February 1st, 2020, and it was delinquent after 4/10. So this amount here is 10% penalty plus $23. So it's $41,000. So if the owner did not pay by 4/10 or 12/10 for that other portion that was due, they would owe that additional amount, that penalty, that extra 10% in penalty. And just to be aware, in many cases, if you have financing, you will have an impound account, and the lender will actually pay your property taxes, but in some cases they don't. So on my house, I have to pay my own property taxes. There isn't an impound account. My monthly payment doesn't have any extra in there that's set up to go into an account for paying the property taxes. It's just when I get my bill, I have to go ahead and pay these. So you may find that if you own a property, either you have impound accounts or you don't. So that will be important to know to make sure property taxes are paid. So this particular property has some additional special assessments that are important to understand if you're going to be buying a property. So you still have your basic levy rate of 1%. There's the Metro Water rate that gets added on as well. We also have a bond that is just for the land only. So only the land portion, not the improvements portion, are taxed. And that's where you get this number over here. The number you see down here is these three numbers added up. Now, technically, they shouldn't have included this because it's only for the land, but it gives you a base rate so that you can help figure out. Now, here's where the math continues. That's what you'd use to calculate part of the property tax rate. You'll see here that there are also some Mello-Roos, also known, more technically known as CFDs, which stands for Community Facilities Districts. And what that means is bonds were set up to help fund the construction of improvements like roads and sewers and things like that so that these properties could be built. and they will be paid off over time. Theoretically, at some point in time, they will expire. You can call this number here to get an idea of when they'll expire. There's no guarantee they can be extended, but some places it has. For example, Liso Viejo, we've seen some expire, Rancho Santa Margarita, Newport Coast. In some areas, they've started to expire, and you no longer have to pay these special assessments. We have the other ones we've seen, Mosquito and Vector Control Water. But this extra here that we see, this 5,800-ish, that has to be added on when you're calculating your property taxes. So you'll use this base rate here, and then you'll add in this additional money here so that you have a number for your property taxes. Make sure you talk to your CPA about this. In many cases, property taxes are deductible for your primary residence, but Mello-Roos technically aren't. Talk to your CPA. True story, in my own neighborhood, it's behind a gate at the top and a gate at the bottom. Right at the pool is the line of demarcation for Mello-Roos. Everybody who's below the pool in my neighborhood pays an extra $3,000 a year in CFDs. Everybody who's above the pool, like I am, we don't pay those extra $3,000 a year in CFDs. That's why it's important to compare even within a given neighborhood to see how the property tax varies. And you can do that by pulling the individual property tax bills. And one more hot tip, and this is great for due diligence. If you're negotiating on a property, go ahead and look it up and see if their property taxes are paid or not. You may find that there may be a distress situation that isn't otherwise disclosed. This particular property, we did find on the MLS. It's actively listed with a notice of default, so they've missed payments. So we already know there's some default there, that there's some issue with distress. But when you go into the tax records, you can see here that the supplemental bill has not been paid. So it says unpaid. So pulling up the bill for this particular property, again, this is a supplemental property tax bill. We'll release additional content on that, but it still holds true. It must be paid. They have not paid the supplemental taxes, and you can see that they are delinquent. It showed you there they were unpaid. One of the differences you will note is that the color is different. It was blue for a normal property tax bill. For delinquent property tax bills, they will be a shade of red. So that's a quick and easy way to see if somebody's delinquent. The other important thing is you're going to want to do this research on any property that you're looking at. If they are delinquent in property taxes, it could allow maybe the ability to negotiate on the property a little bit harder. Maybe they need to get rid of it. Now, do understand that some lenders impound the property tax payments and will continue to pay them even if a property has a notice of default. The owner has stopped paying, they will pay the property taxes. But if an owner is in charge of paying their own property taxes, very often they will miss that mark on getting those property taxes paid, and you'll be able to see an inside scoop on potentially some distress. And one more thing for fun, when we say you can look up any property tax bill, we literally mean any one. I mean, here is the one for South Coast Plaza, a big crazy expensive mall in Orange County. We can actually see what their property tax bill looks like. We search by address and we can see there's several different parcel numbers. It's common for a mall to be broken up like that. We'll just pick this one right here. Hey, they're paying their property taxes. That's a good sign. Let's check out the bill. And here you can see this particular parcel for South Coast Plaza is worth over $18 million. And the property taxes are $219,000 per year. You can look it up for any property, be that nosy neighbor, and have fun. And don't forget, we're real estate agents based in Southern California. Before you buy or sell, let's discuss those property taxes. We'll get those numbers for you. We have a link below so you can reach out. Let us know your Orange County property tax questions below. And also, if you'd like to see this for other counties, let us know and we can make that happen. Make sure you subscribe to our free weekly email newsletter so you don't miss another update like this. Oh, and if you like this video, you're gonna love this next one. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Christian Walsh, real estate agent with Wire Associates, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and we can't wait to hear from you.